Okay, good morning, A2 students. Okay, just quickly go through this KA, which was pretty straightforward. Question 1, units of the equilibrium constant. Obviously, the best thing is to just scribble it out. I mean, it's got squared on the bottom times 1. To the power 4 on the top times 1, so we can sort of cancel them out. We end up with 2 on the top, so it's going to be moles squared dm minus 6. Question 2, looking at the equilibrium hydrogen and iodine, if you increase the pressure, what would happen? The answer is B, because there are the same number of moles on each side. So we're not going to affect the position of the equilibrium, but obviously increasing the pressure is like increasing the concentration, so the rate will increase. Part B, this one, my understanding is that it's because anything to the power of a half is basically the square root, but I have to tell you that I haven't quite sorted that out in my head yet. I'll come back to you on that one. Okay, question 3. We're told it's an endothermic equilibrium reaction. Okay, so what is going to decrease the equilibrium yield of methane? If it's endothermic, then we would need to decrease the temperature if we want to decrease the amount of methane being made. And if we increase the pressure, then obviously there's no gas on this side, so that's going to effectively move us over to the side with less moles of gas. Okay, which of the following is going to increase the value of the equilibrium constant? Well, the only thing that increases the value of the equilibrium constant is going to be the change in temperature. Okay, and then this one again, only temperature affects Kc, so it's got to be B. Right, and then you're asked to calculate Kc for the reaction. So you need to write your equation out from the Kc expression, work out your moles at equilibrium. Don't forget to work out concentration. Because you're only given moles here, not concentration. That's the crucial thing. And then obviously you just put the numbers into your Kc expression and do the calculation. Take care with the units. Again, we've got 3 lots of units on the bottom and only 1 on the top. So you're going to end up adding your decimeters cubed and your moles, but you're going to change the sign on the power. Okay, so this question, is asking you, why it's difficult to predict the effect on yield. So to give a kind of coherent answer, if you look at the 2 effects separately, explain what would happen if you change the temperature, explain what would happen if you change the pressure, and then show that you understand that both the changes obviously oppose each other. One's shifting the equilibrium to the left, one's shifting the equilibrium to the right. So then you just need to make a comment to that effect that you can't actually tell, unless you've got some more information, how the yield would be affected. You'd actually need to know which one had the most effect. Okay, question 5 then, so this is about Kp. So you're going to need to work out your mole fraction and then your partial pressure. So total number of moles, work out the mole fraction, multiply it by the pressure, which will give us our partial pressure, and then we just put the numbers into the equation, into the Kp expression. Okay. Again, you don't need to change the units here from atmospheres. The question's in atmospheres. You just give the units in atmospheres. Don't worry about changing them unless you know there's a specific instruction in the question. And then this last question, I was quite surprised how many people got some of this basic stuff wrong. So if you did, you know, this is AS level stuff. Very important that you go back and look at your AS equilibria that you're expected to know. And you basically just got to learn it, you know. Definition of Le Chatelier should be, you should know that one. But they're very important that you talk about subject to change, in conditions, and then the equilibrium will shift to oppose the change. Okay. Characteristics of dynamic equilibrium: forward rate equals reverse rate, not forward reaction. You can say rate of reaction, but not forward reaction. It's the rate that's important. It takes place in a closed system. You could also have said about the concentration of the reactants and the products are constant at equilibrium. Okay, important here that you took the instruction from the question to describe and explain the colour change that you might see in this case if you added dilute HCl. So effectively you're going to be adding more H+, so the equilibrium will shift to oppose that change, so it's going to move in the reverse direction to remove the H+, form water. Okay, and obviously the colour change will go from yellow to orange. And then similar thing here, another equilibrium reaction where you're told there's different colours on either side, and then you're asked to explain what would happen, explain the colour change that might take place. And I was again surprised at the number of you who misread this question, and to some extent I'm sure they've written the question like this to make you, to easily confuse you, because they're saying here that it's the effect of pressure. It's been compressed at constant temperature. And a number of you obviously just glanced at that, saw the temperature, and then gave an answer with reference to temperature. So effectively you gave the wrong answer for both parts of this question because you reversed them. So this is talking about if we increase the pressure, which side will it go? Well, obviously it's going to go to the side of fewer moles, which in this case will be to the right, and that means that the colour will change from, you know, darker brown to lighter, or, you know, colourless. Probably not going to become completely colourless because you're not going to end up with just N2O4, but that was acceptable as an answer. And then the same here, if we heat it, the equilibrium, it will, obviously we know it's exothermic in the forward direction, it tells you that here, delta H. So your increase in temperature will shift to the left, which means it will become darker brown. And please make sure you know the difference between your left and your right, because some of you would say it went to the left and became colourless. So obviously there's a bit of confusion over left and right. Okay, and then my final question to all of you is, what is orange and sounds like a parrot? If you don't know the answer to that, I will tell you when I next see you. Thank you and goodbye.